know you are Mr. Winchester Key, the CEO and the founder of East New York Urban Youth Corps. What is today about?
Today is about a commitment and a mandate for community policing and the partnership between the community and the 75th Precinct.
What are some of our objectives given the fact that New York right now is at a sensitive moment, critical moment, with its relationship with the mayor and all of the precincts? I think that you're the first march that I know of where you've taken the first step forward with a partnership with the 75th to actually show that it's possible to start an initiative. The question is, how did you get this going, since everyone else is just having panel discussions, about what we should do?
Well, we had several marches throughout the country, and they was upset about police brutality and the way they was treating the minorities. And we always talk about community policing, but all we did was talk. No one's thought of making a mandate that we have that with the police department and the community not have a vehicle that they can address the issues on a day-to-day basis. And we have a lot of things that we can share together. We have, for example, the Civilian Academy. That's set up by the police department where people can go in and adults can go in and they can see the training that the cops and what cops go through during the training period. And we also have a ride-along program where the people in the community can go to the precinct and they can ride along with the cops every day and see what's going on from inside the vehicle and so they can see exactly what the cops go through every day. So those type of things we're trying to mandate that we can close the bridge and the gap, especially with the youth. The youth have no real vehicle or communication with the police department. So as a result, we've set up a youth community board that will be set up and ran by the youth, and the youth will be in charge with an advisory board to advise them and try to set the mechanism of how they're going to go forward. And we're going to ask the community affairs to the New York City Police Department to be a part of that youth committee board to enhance that they have a direct line with the police department and the youth has a vehicle to address the issues with the police directly.
You lead the East New York Urban Youth Corps. How long has East New York Urban Youth Corps had a relationship with the 75th Precinct?
Oh, for the last 15 to 20 years.
Sometimes East New York is often cited for having a gang violence here. Has there ever been a relationship between East New York Urban Youth Corps or a sit down with the 75th to solve problems?
We had several forums for the Bloods and Cribs to come in and meet with the inspector, and we started those dialogues back and forth. But what happens in a community like ours, if there's not an economic agenda and the youth have something to do or have jobs, it really is not effective as it should be because they don't see no future. So we have them, but they stop and they start, but it's not working because they're looking for an economic agenda as well.
What's the very next step for this after this Increase the Peace march today?
The first step is to meet with the youth and put forth an economic agenda for the community.
How can we contact you, sir?
You can contact me by telephone number 347-770-9601. Repeat, 347-770-9601.
Thank you so much, Mr. Key.
And thank you very much.
Yes, Mr. Key, who would you have sitting next to you?
This is Mr. Smith. He's in with the community band. he would explain the name of his band and what they do. But your question of where we're going from here.
Yeah.
And we sat down with Mr. Smith, and through his group we get that youth community board going and the economic agenda. But since he's so involved with the youth and have an educational program, he's going to be spearheading this youth board, community board, and I just wanted him to just take
Mr. Smith, if I could ask you, we understand how sensitive community police relations are today. Can you address why you brought your band out today first and increase the Peace March, and what this means to you?
First and foremost, our organization unites music and arts, and we serve the youth in the community. You know, we build leaders of our community, and I believe that the youth will actually carry that to another level if they get the opportunity, because they know what they need, they know where they're going, and based off everything with the police and everything, like the kids don't really have any connection with the officers. Growing up, they're taught certain things. It's like a gang versus another gang. You don't really know why there's a beef. You're just involved with that particular gang, and that's what the kids grow up into. Seeing the cop, well, I don't like a cop. Why you don't like a cop? Just because. And it becomes friction. So when the officer comes to ask them nicely to do something, they tend to turn their back or walk the other direction. And this is a good opportunity for the kids to actually understand that the cops are people too.
Mr. K.
The other thing is that we're looking for after-school location for this program, and I'll be working with the superintendent in the district to try to get that support for them to get a permanent location. And hopefully the mayor's office will assist us as well.
Mr. Smith, I know Mr. Key is sitting right next to you, but what would you say to Mr. Key now after we've walked down the street and said increase the peace? We've also said stop the violence. Because he put this together and because the 75th put it together, if you were speaking at large to Mr. Key, what would you say to him right now? And then I'm going to ask you the same thing. If the 75th Precinct were looking at this right now, what would you say to them? At the end of the day, now that we've done this, what would you say to Mr. Key directly on behalf of young people?
Basically, I feel like this is a excellent effort, and it shows how much you care about what's happening in the community. A lot of people don't put things together, and they speak about it, they talk about it, but it's never happened. Even during the meeting that we had, he said one thing that allowed me to say, you know what, I really respect this guy. We was talking about a lot of things. He's like, you know what, we're not even going to talk about it anymore. A lot of people talk, but not so many people do. So we're not going to talk about it, we're just going to do it. And immediately he took action with certain things that we were talking about. And as far as listening to different ideas, it's really comfortable. Talking about the youth board. I brung it up so many times at so many meetings, and nobody really listened to it. And the first thing that everybody did, take out pen and paper, let's write it down. How can we start? Let's move on it. That was 2 days ago that we talked about it, and already it's in motion. So that's the most important thing. You need somebody that's going to be there, that's going to listen, no matter what the idea is. If it's a good idea, a bad idea, if it's something that's going towards a positive motion, let's try it.
What would you say to the inspector of the 75th Precinct and the officers of the 75th Precinct?
They out here, they're here, they're ready to speak to the kids.
Yeah.
So that means they care also. Even talking to them before we stepped out, that's the main concern. It doesn't sound like, they just here, okay, this is a job, I'm just going to do it. Like, I'm generally here to get something done. Even some of the questions that I asked them, they had the answers to it. They already have things in play to actually work with the youth. Everything that we spoke about, they already have into play. So you can tell that's what they're thinking about, is getting to the youth instead of, pushing them away.
Here's the inspector. Excuse me, sir.
The inspector.
We were just asking one of the youth leaders.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. Thanks.
For you, sir,
Okay.
and you're the inspector, right?
Yep.
Okay. What do you think about the increased peace effort today?
I think this is great. I think that anything we do to improve the relationship between the community and the police department is always a positive. And for everybody to come out on a 0-degree day just means a lot. It proves how much the community really wants to work with the police department, and the police department wants to work with the community.
Mr. Smith just said something I think you need to hear. Can you just repeat some of what you just said a few minutes ago when I asked you what would you say to the inspector and some of the officers of the 75th?
Just by talking to most of the police officers that's here, it tells me that they care about the youth. It's not just a front. A lot of people speak about it because that's what they have to. It's not just a front, and everyone's here. It's like you said, it's cold outside, and everybody's willing to speak about it. Everybody's willing to talk about it. So that's the first step into a positive direction.
Well, I appreciate that, and that's what it's all about. That's really what it's all about. I mean, like I always tell the officers, treat people as you would want your family to be treated. We're here to serve the public, and the public being the residents of East New York. And